Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're investigating a massive financial paradox that absolutely shatters traditional planning wisdom. I mean, if you've ever typed a healthy rate of return into one of those standard retirement calculators and felt pretty secure about your future, well, brace yourself. We are challenging the very foundation of how we project wealth.
Okay, let's dive into this. So here is the huge, mind-bending question we have to answer. How exactly can you earn 9.5% on your investments over the course of your retirement and still end up completely broke? Seriously, it sounds mathematically impossible, right? It's just a massive contradiction. You're earning a high positive rate of return, and yet somehow you manage to lose absolutely everything. 9.5%. Historically speaking, that kind of compound return is incredibly strong. You put that number into any standard spreadsheet and projecting it over a multi-decade timeline. That should absolutely guarantee your success. Literally, it should mean you're living comfortably, enjoying your golden years, and never ever having to worry about a depleted bank account. But as we're about to see, math in a vacuum, it is not the same as math in the real world.
Which brings us to Section 1, the average return lie.
So we really need to dissect this incredibly comforting belief that average annual returns are a safe metric to build your entire future on. Because the truth is that average returns completely mask the harsh reality of withdrawals. Look, while averages look fantastic in a vacuum or, during your working years when you're just piling money in, retirement flips the script entirely. You aren't just letting the market do its thing anymore. You are actively siphoning off funds, literally selling off pieces of your nest egg just to pay for your daily life. And that single action changes the math completely. And this brings us to a concept called the sequence of returns. Basically, this is the mathematical and psychological reality that the order in which your investment returns occur matters significantly more than the average rate itself. The absolutely crucial point here is that word, order. The specific timeline of those market ups and downs is the secret mechanism determining whether your portfolio survives the long haul or, dies prematurely.
Let's move to Section 2, the 1966 retirement disaster.
Think of this like a financial true crime case study. Let's look at an infamous historical cohort, the 1966 retiree. Imagine this timeline. You retire on January 1st, 1966. Year 1, retirement begins. You start withdrawing your money to live. But almost immediately, the market tanks. Years 2 through 5, the bad years hit, and they hit first. Now, because you still need to buy groceries and pay taxes, you are forced to sell your investments while they are down in the absolute gutters. You're burning through the very foundation of your wealth before the good years even have a chance to arrive. By the time year 10 rolls around and those massive returns finally show up in the broader market, it's just too late. What's really interesting here is comparing the final results of these two scenarios. If you get consistent, steady returns early on, your wealth is ultimately preserved. Pretty standard. But look at the 1966 sequence. Because of those major losses right out of the gate, the final result is complete depletion. And the wildest part of all this, over the full span of that retirement, both of these scenarios technically average out to the exact same 9.5% compound return, yet the 1966 sequence leaves the retiree with absolute $0. Section 3, math versus psychological reality. We've looked at the cold, hard spreadsheet numbers, but the intense psychological journey of watching this unfold is a completely different beast. See, an average return reality looks perfectly safe, smooth, and predictable on paper. It's that steady climb a financial planner shows you so you'll sleep at night. But the lived sequence reality is entirely different. Just imagine the absolute panic of those early bad years. Every single time you make a withdrawal to pay a bill, you know you are permanently destroying a piece of your portfolio at a market low. That money can never, ever grow back. It's this terrifying juxtaposition between the false comfort of traditional planning and the very real, visceral stress of sequence risk. And then, we arrive at the hollow comfort of the later good years. This right here is the ultimate tragic irony of the sequence of returns risk. In the 1966 scenario, massive bull markets eventually did arrive later on. The returns were huge, but it simply didn't matter. You can have a massive, record-breaking gain in the market, but if you've already depleted your account to zero, a huge percentage of nothing is still exactly nothing. There was no underlying base money left to compound. The math requires a foundation, and the early sequence completely destroyed it.
Which brings us to Section 4, why your timeline matters. We aren't just talking about 1966 for a fun history lesson. We're talking about it to bring this explainer directly home to your own upcoming financial timeline. Because the market doesn't care when you decide to retire, but your portfolio certainly does. And this brilliantly illustrates the core lessons here. Order dictates survival, not averages. Early bad years destroy your base, compounding your losses because you're withdrawing funds at the exact same time. And a 9.5% average, or literally any high average for that matter, cannot save a depleted account. The timing of your returns fundamentally overrides whatever average you think you're earning over a 30-year period.
So what does this all mean? It leads us to one final, crucial thought. Is your financial future built on an average or a reality? If your entire plan relies on a steady, static spreadsheet number, you might be exposing yourself to the exact same invisible threat that wiped out the class of 1966. Take a really hard look at your timeline, prepare for the sequence, and yeah, thanks for joining me for this explainer. See you next time.